The cargo ship Horizon. 12 moved silently through deep space, far away from the busy human colonies. Inside the ship, only one person was awake. Evan, a quiet human engineer who liked lonely routes and peaceful nights. He enjoyed the stillness of space because it never asked anything from him. No noise, no orders, no problems. But that night, something strange broke the silence. A soft voice came through the ship's radio, shaking the air like a whisper traveling across millions of kilometers. If anyone hears me, do not come near. I cannot control it. Evan froze. The message repeated again, clearer this time, sad, scared, and not fully human. The voice had an echo, as if two beings spoke at the same time. He looked at the ship's AI screen. Unknown distress signal detected. The AI said, Source, Dead Zone Sector 77. Humans are forbidden to enter. Evan felt a cold chill in his chest. The Dead Zone was famous in old space stories. Ships went in, but many never came back. Command always warned pilots to stay away. No trade lanes. No rescue missions. No answers. But the voice came again, weaker. Please stay away. I do not want to hurt anyone. Evan frowned. Who warns others not to help them? Someone scared. Someone alone. Someone in danger. He turned off the alarm system and whispered to himself, Someone needs help. I can't ignore this. His ship changed direction. The AI protested. This decision is unsafe. Human survival chance drops to 14%. Then I'll be the 14%, Evan said quietly. For the next hour, he followed the signal through a dark region of space where stars looked old and tired. No ships, no stations, no life. Then he saw it. A massive alien craft, floated without lights, half torn apart. Pieces of silver metal drifted around it like frozen feathers. The ship looked ancient and beautiful at the same time. Sharp curves, glowing lines, delicate symbols written across the hull. Evan whispered, What happened to you? He brought Horizon 12 closer, connected a docking bridge, and stepped inside. The alien ship was silent. No power, no lights, only cold metal and long empty hallways. His boots echoed with every step, and the air carried a strange, sweet smell like burnt flowers. The distress signal led him to a round chamber with tall walls covered in glowing patterns. In the center, a transparent energy cocoon floated a few feet above the ground. Inside the cocoon was a young alien woman. Her body looked human-like, but not fully. Her skin had a soft silver glow. Her hair floated slowly inside the energy field like it was underwater. A thin blue line ran across her forehead, glowing like a star. She was unconscious. Evan stepped closer and touched the cocoon's outer surface. It felt warm, like touching sunlight. Suddenly, her eyes snapped open, bright silver, sharp, almost painful to look at. She looked straight at him with shock and confusion. Her voice was barely a whisper. A human? Evan stepped back, surprised she could even speak. The cocoon flickered violently. The chamber lights shook. Alarms on his wrist beat fast. Dangerous energy detected. Unknown type. She pressed her hand against the cocoon's inner wall, her eyes wide with fear. Leave, now, she breathed. I cannot control this. But before Evan could respond, the ship around them started trembling. Outside, sensors detected something huge moving through space. Enemy ship detected, approaching fast. Weapon systems active. Evan looked back at her. She was staring at him with a strange expression, fear mixed with curiosity. She whispered again, softer this time. Human, you crossed the stars for me. Evan swallowed. I heard your voice. I couldn't just leave you. Her expression changed, surprise, disbelief, almost fragile hope. Before she could answer, the alien ship shook violently. Sparks burst from the walls. Metal cracked. A deep rumbling sound rolled through the corridors. Her eyes widened. They found me. Evan didn't wait. He pressed his hand on the cocoon again, trying anything, even without understanding the technology. The cocoon glowed brighter. The chamber filled with blue light. Suddenly, the cocoon dissolved into thin air. She collapsed into his arms. Light, weak, breathing fast. Her skin glowed brighter for a moment, reacting to his touch. Evan held her carefully. "Can you walk?" She shook her head slowly. "My energy is unstable. I need time." Another explosion shook the ship. He lifted her gently. "No time. You're coming with me." The corridor lights flickered. The enemy ship outside charged its cannons. As Evan ran through the damaged halls carrying her, she looked up at him with confusion. "Why?" she whispered. "Why risk your life for me?" Evan breathed heavily, but kept moving. "Because someone needed help. That's enough." A long silence followed. Her silver eyes softened. No one had ever answered her like that before. They reached the docking bridge just as a giant shadow covered both ships. Enemy lock-on confirmed. She grabbed his shirt weakly and whispered a final warning. "Human, if they capture me, they will destroy your whole race." Evan stared at her, shocked. Before he could reply, a massive explosion tore through the alien ship, pushing them into the void. Evan fell hard against the metal floor of Horizon. 12 as the alien ship behind him exploded in a burst of blue fire. The shock wave pushed the docking bridge away, causing alarms to scream across his ship. He held the alien woman tightly so she wouldn't fall. Her breath trembled, weak but steady. The ship AI spoke in a sharp tone. "Warning. Enemy cruiser approaching. Unknown technology. Distance. 3,000 meters." Evan stood quickly and carried her into the main cabin. Her silver skin glowed in soft pulses, like a heartbeat of light. She whispered, barely audible, "They are not here to rescue, they are here to erase." Evan placed her gently on a medical bed. "You said they'll destroy humans if they catch you. Why?" Her eyes shifted away, filled with memories she didn't want to remember. "Because of who I am." Before he could ask more, the ship shook again. A red light flashed. Enemy lock-on. Impact in 18 seconds. Evan rushed to the controls. But then, her hand touched his wrist. He looked down. Her fingers were cold and trembling. "You cannot outrun them," she whispered. "They have star engines. Yours is only human-made." Evan's mind raced. "Then what do we do?" Her eyes glowed brighter, silver turning into brilliant white. "There's a way, but it will hurt." She sat up slowly, her body shaking, and pressed her palms together. A small sphere of glowing light formed between her hands. It hummed like a heart made of energy. Evan stared. "What is that?" "A star pulse," she said. "It can push your ship into a new path." Evan stepped back. "Like faster than light?" She nodded. "Something like that. But I can only hold it for a few seconds. After that, I don't know." The pulse grew brighter. Her breathing grew weaker. Evan rushed to support her. "You're hurting yourself. Stop." She shook her head. "If I stop, you die." The ship AI counted down. Impact in 10 seconds. The pulse grew larger, filling the cabin with white light. Evan shielded his eyes, but she didn't look away. For the first time, he saw something different in her face. Not fear, not pain, but determination. Then she whispered his name. "Evan." He froze. He never told her his name. "How do you—" "Your mind was loud," she whispered. "Humans have noisy hearts." Before he could react, she slammed the star pulse into the ship's engine core. A blinding explosion of energy blasted through Horizon 12. The whole universe bent. Stars stretched. Time slowed. The enemy cruiser vanished behind them, swallowed by distance in one heartbeat. The ship shook violently, screens turning white, gravity disappearing. Evan was thrown into the air. The alien woman fell from the shock, her body hitting the medical bed hard. Then everything went silent. A soft blue fog floated to the cabin like dream smoke. Evan crawled to her quickly. She lay still, eyes closed, her glow dim. "Hey, stay with me." He tapped her cheek gently. "Open your eyes." Slowly, very slowly, she opened them. Her voice was soft like broken glass. "Did it work?" Evan looked at the ship's screen. They were nowhere, not on any known map, not in any human database, not near any star. "Yeah," he whispered. It worked too well. Her lips curled into a weak smile. Good. Humans are always too slow. He almost laughed. Are you feeling better? No, she whispered honestly. My energy is unstable. The cocoon kept me alive, but without it, I am fading. Evan clenched his fists. There has to be something I can do. She studied him quietly, like she was trying to understand something inside him. You risked your life for me twice, she said softly. Why? You do not know my name. You do not know my kind. You do not know my darkness. Evan didn't know how to explain it. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't even brave. He was just someone who couldn't leave a crying voice alone. So he said the only words that felt true, because you sounded scared. Her breath caught. For a moment, she looked like someone who had been alone for a very long time. Then she finally spoke. My name is Lyra. The name echoed softly in the cabin. Evan nodded. Lyra will figure this out. But before he could say more, the ship AI broke in. Alert! We are not alone. Evan turned to the window. A massive silhouette drifted in the distance, far larger than any human ship. Black, silent, covered in broken glowing symbols. Lyra's face went pale. Her voice shook. That is not for my people. Evan narrowed his eyes. Then who does it belong to? Lyra looked at the ancient ship with fear he had never seen before. Something older than my kind, older than yours. Something that was never meant to wake again. The giant ship slowly turned toward them. The giant ship, drifting in the fog of empty space, felt like a shadow from another universe. It had no engines, no lights, no sound, yet it somehow moved. Its outer hull was massive, cracked like old stone, but pieces of it still glowed with ancient symbols that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat that refused to die. Evan stared at it from Horizon 12's window, unable to look away. Lyra, what is that? Lyra struggled to sit up, her body weak, her glow dim. But when she saw the ship, a sharp fear flashed in her eyes, deeper and older than anything Evan had seen. It's a Sentinel Ark, she whispered. My people believed these ships were only legends. Evan frowned. Legend as in good legend or bad legend? Lyra shook her head slowly. Bad. Very bad. These ships belong to a civilization older than stars. They vanished, leaving only warnings. Evan swallowed. Warnings about what? Lyra's voice trembled as she answered. About waking them. A rumble vibrated to the horizon, 12 as the giant ark rotated, turning its front toward them. A crack in its hull opened like a mouth of light. The ship's AI spoke. Unknown signal incoming. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed inside the cabin. Ancient, cold, layered with hundreds of tones. Identify. Evan jumped. The voice wasn't coming from speakers. It came from everywhere, walls, floor, air. Lyra clutched her head, wincing. Evan shouted, Stop! You're hurting her! But the voice continued. Unstable energy lifeform detected. Unstable human presence detected. Requesting purpose. Lyra tried to speak, but her voice shook. Evan stepped forward, heart pounding. We're just passing through, he said. We're not here to hurt anyone. There was silence. Then the voice answered. Incorrect. A beam of light shot from the ark, surrounding Horizon, 12 like a cage. The ship stopped moving. Engines died. Screens flickered. Evan slammed controls. It's pulling us in. Lyra grabbed his arm weakly. Evan, we must leave. The Sentinels judged everything. They believed emotions made species dangerous. If they scan us... She didn't finish. Evan understood. If the Ark scanned them, it might decide both of them were too dangerous to exist. The ship AI tried restarting thrusters, but nothing worked. They were trapped. The Ark's voice came again, closer, louder. You hold forbidden energy. Purge protocol beginning. Evan turned to Lyra. What does that mean? Lyra's hands trembled. It means they think my power should not exist. And if you're with me, they will erase you too. The Ark dragged the Horizon, 12 into a massive opening, like falling into the mouth of a sleeping beast. Inside, everything was black. Then a circular room lit up around them, filled with tall structures shaped like pillars of glass. Each pillar held glowing symbols floating inside like trapped stars. Evan whispered, "Where are we?" Lyra stared at the pillars with fear. A trial chamber. Evan's throat went dry. Trial? As in we defend ourselves. Lyra shook her head. No, as in they judge us without asking anything. A beam scanned through the ship. First it hovered over Evan. His heartbeat echoed in the chamber. His memories flashed in faint images on the pillars. Childhood, training, loneliness. The moment he saved Lyra. The voice spoke. Human. Compassion level. High. Self-risk ratio. Irrational. Heart response. Unpredictable. Evan frowned. Hey, I'm not unpredictable. I just try to help. Lyra whispered. They don't like unpredictable. The beam moved to her next. When it scanned Lyra, the pillars flared violently, symbols spinning faster. Her energy reacted wildly, her skin glowing brighter. Lyra gasped, pain shooting across her face. Stop, Evan, I can't. Evan grabbed her hands. Hold on. The Ark's voice thundered. Energy being. Power unstable. Fate. Termination required. Evan's eyes widened. Termination? No way. She's not dangerous. Lyra laughed weakly, almost sad. To them, I am a storm. Evan stood between her and the scanning beam. Scan me again, he demanded. Judge me all you want, but leave her alone. The entire chamber pulsed. The symbols froze. The voice whispered, You protect her. Evan didn't step back. Yeah, I do. A long silence followed. The Ark studied him. His fear, his voice, his heartbeat. Then the voice said something unexpected. Human. Why? Evan didn't have a heroic answer. No dramatic speech. Just the truth. Because she didn't ask to be hunted. She didn't choose this. She needs someone. He looked at Lyra. And I won't leave her. The chamber lights flickered. For the first time, the Ark sounded unsure. Compassion, conflicts with protocol. Lyra whispered, Evan, you're confusing it. Good. Evan said, let it be confused. The Ark paused. The pillars dimmed. Then a loud alarm echoed. Warning. Outside presence detected. Hostile Empire fleet arriving. Lyra's eyes widened. My people, they tracked us. The Ark slowly powered up. Waking fully for the first time in thousands of years. Evan looked out the window and whispered, We're stuck between something ancient and something angry. The trial chamber shook as the ancient Ark fully awakened. Blue cracks of light spread across the walls like veins waking from a long sleep. Evan held Lyra close as the ship trembled under their feet. Outside the window, dozens of sharp silver warships appeared from hyperspace, silent, deadly, shaped like blades. Her empire had arrived. Lyra's breath froze. That is the Royal Vanguard. She whispered the words like a nightmare returning. Evan glanced at her. Your people? Lyra nodded slowly, her hair faintly glowing. The strongest fleet of my empire. If they found us, they want one thing, which is me, or my death. The Ark's voice echoed through the chamber. Hostile species detected. Energy signature matches target. Lyra winced. They came for me because I know something they cannot allow humans to discover. Evan's heart pounded. Then tell me, what secret? Lyra looked away for a long moment before answering. My empire plans to remove your species quietly. Evan felt every word like a blade. Remove? You mean destroy humanity? Lyra swallowed. Not an open war. They call it star cleansing, a slow elimination of new species that grow too fast. Evan stepped back, stunned. Humans grow too fast. Lyra nodded. Humans adapt. You evolve. You learn. My leaders fear it. They fear you. Before Evan could respond, Horizon 12 shook again, this time violently. Lyra nearly fell, but he caught her arm. The AI warned. Royal Vanguard ships charging plasma cannons. Impact in 12 seconds. Evan clenched his fists. They're going to fire on an ancient Ark? Are they insane? Lyra answered softly. To them, nothing matters except the mission. The Ark's voice pulsed again. Conflict detected. Energy being in danger. Evan turned toward the glowing pillars. Wait, are you going to help us? The Ark stayed silent, but its lights brightened. Lyra grabbed Evan's sleeve. No! Evan, the Sentinel Arks help no one. They only choose what should live and what should die. Evan's jaw tightened. Then let's make sure they choose correctly. Lyra stared at him, surprised again by the human who refused to back down. Outside, the Royal Vanguard fired. A massive blast of blue plasma shot toward the Ark. The Ark reacted instantly. It created a giant shield of pure light, absorbing the attack like it was hitting a mountain instead of a ship. Evan exhaled. That was close. But Lyra didn't look relieved. She looked terrified. Evan, the Ark is not protecting us. It is preparing something else. What do you mean? Lyra closed her eyes, feeling the energy around her. The Ark believes both sides are dangerous. My empire and humans. Evan froze. Then what's it preparing? Lyra whispered. A purge. Before Evan could ask, the chamber lights went red. A deep sound filled every wall. A heartbeat made of metal. Final protocol activated. Universe must be balanced. Unpredictable species detected. Evan's eyes widened. Hey, HEY, we're not unpredictable. Lyra whispered sadly. We are both unpredictable to the Sentinels. A beam from the Ark began gathering energy, aimed at the Royal Vanguard fleet in Horizon 12. Evan shouted, We need to stop it. Lyra stepped in front of the beam, her body faintly glowing. The Ark's voice boomed. Energy life form, do not interfere. Lyra lifted her chin. If you judge us, then judge me first. Evan stared. She was sacrificing herself. Lyra continued speaking, her voice echoing through the chamber. I left my empire because I do not support the cleansing. Humans do not deserve fear. And I do not deserve to be hunted. The Ark scanned her again, symbols on the pillars spinning faster, reacting to her truth. The Ark's voice changed, less harsh, almost curious. You reject your own kind. Lyra looked down. I reject their cruelty, not my people. The Ark processed this. Lights flickered. Symbols slowed. Evan stepped forward. And humans don't want war. We just want a chance. The pillars glowed brighter. The Ark whispered. Compassion detected. Alternating path possible. Lyra whispered to Evan. It is listening. But the moment hope appeared, a loud explosion shook the Ark. The Royal Vanguard had broken formation and sent elite soldiers toward them. Small, sharp pods drilling into the Ark's hull. Lyra's face turned pale. They're boarding the Sentinel Arkansas. Evan grabbed her arm. Why? Why risk entering this place? Lyra whispered the answer, like a death sentence. To kill me before the Ark chooses to keep me alive. The ship shook again as another pod drilled through. Footsteps echoed to the hall outside, cold metallic, in perfect rhythm. They were coming. The Ark's voice returned, stronger. Intruders detected. Paths must be chosen. Evan pulled Lyra behind him. We aren't dying here, he whispered. We'll fight together. Lyra looked at him with silver eyes that trembled not with fear, but with something warmer. You humans, she whispered. You always choose impossible path. Footsteps stopped outside the chamber. The doors began to open with a heavy metallic hiss. Lyra whispered, They found us. The chamber doors slid open with a heavy metallic hiss, shaking dust from the ceiling. Evan instinctively stepped in front of Lyra, shielding her with his body. His heart beat fast, but his stance didn't waver. Lyra could see it. Humans fear death, but Evan feared losing her more. Through the opening stepped 3 armored figures, tall and silver, their armor glowing with the same patterns as Lyra's old cocoon. They moved in perfect harmony, every step precise. Their helmets were sharp like blades, and their eyes glowed blue behind the visor. Lyra whispered, breath shaking, Elite Praetorians, the Royal Execution Squad. Evan whispered back, Execution Squad? Not rescue. Lyra shook her head slowly. Praetorians do not rescue. They erase threats. And right now, I am a threat to them. The first Praetorian raised a glowing spear-like weapon. Its tip hummed with deadly energy. A cold, emotionless voice came from the armor. Target confirmed, Royal Defector Lyra Solari. Lyra winced at the name. Evan caught it. Solari, is that your family name? She didn't answer, not with words. Her expression said everything. She wasn't just royal. She was heir. The second Praetorian stepped forward. Termination of the traitor begins. Human witness will also be removed. Evan clenched his jaw. Yeah, come and try. Lyra grabbed his wrist. Evan, you cannot fight them. Humans cannot match their speed or strength. Evan whispered. Then I'll die trying. Lyra froze, her silver eyes widening. No soldier had ever said that for her. No royal guard had ever stood between her and danger. Evan's breath was shaking, but his resolve wasn't. The Praetorian lunged. A blur of silver metal shot straight toward Evan's heart. Lyra reacted first. She pushed Evan aside with a burst of energy, her glow returning for a brief moment. The spear scraped across the floor, cutting it open like melted butter. The Praetorian spoke. Energy levels detected. Unstable. Mutating. Lyra gasped. Evan caught her as she staggered. Her glow was rising again, not like before, but wild, uncontrolled, flickering like lightning inside her skin. Evan whispered, Lyra, what's happening to you? She pressed a hand to her chest. Without the cocoon, my energy is growing too fast. I cannot hold it anymore. The Praetorians advanced. Evan stood tall. He wasn't strong. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't trained. But he refused to back down. He grabbed a metal rod from the wall. Barely a weapon, but all he had. Come on, he shouted. The first Praetorian attacked. Evan blocked the strike. The force sent him flying against the pillar hard enough to knock the breath from his lungs. Lyra screamed, Evan! The Praetorian raised a spear again. But then, a deafening rumble filled the chamber. The ancient ark glowed, its symbols burning bright blue. The pillars reshaped themselves, forming swirling patterns. The ark spoke, louder than ever. Compassion response detected. New path accepted. Lyra's eyes widened. Evan wiped blood from his mouth. What does that mean? Lyra stared at the glowing symbols. The ark. It is choosing to intervene. The Praetorians looked up in confusion. One of them scanned the environment. Impossible. Sentinel systems were dormant for millennia. The ark's voice thundered. You threaten the compassionate. Blue energy surged from the pillars, forming a barrier between Evan, Lyra, and the Praetorians. The Praetorians tried stabbing it. Their weapons bounced off. Evan exhaled. Finally, something on our side. Lyra placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. Her glow softened. You stood between death and me again. Evan smiled weakly. Someone had to. Lyra looked at him with an expression he had never seen. Sadness, fear, warmth, all mixed together. She whispered, Evan, there is something you should know. But before she could speak, the entire ark trembled violently. Outside, the Royal Vanguard fleet had formed into a massive formation. Energy signals peaked. They were preparing the deadliest weapon her empire had, the Starbreaker beam. Lyra's voice broke with fear. No, they wouldn't. But they would, and they did. A blinding beam of blue light shot straight toward the ancient ark, shaking the entire structure. Cracks formed in the ceiling. Sparks rained down. The ark's voice boomed. Critical damage detected. Shields failing. Evan held on to Lyra as the ground shook beneath them. What is the Starbreaker? He shouted over chaos. Lyra answered with trembling breath. A weapon made to kill star creatures like me and destroy anything older than us. Evan's heart stopped. They're trying to kill both of you? Lyra nodded. And you, because you protected me. The Praetorians pushed against the weakening barrier, their armor glowing. Lyra turned to Evan, tears gathering in her eyes. Not human tears, but silver light. Evan, the truth I never told you. I carry the power to destroy worlds. Or protect them. Evan stared at her, stunned. Lyra continued, voice breaking. That is why they fear me. That is why they want me erased. Because if I choose humans. She placed a trembling hand on his chest. I changed the future of the galaxy. The arc groaned under another blast. Pillars cracked. Energy flared. The Praetorians broke through the barrier. Their leader raised a spear toward Lyra. The air dies now. Evan grabbed her arm. Lyra squeezed his hand. Her energy began rising. Brighter, hotter, dangerous. Evan, she whispered, close your eyes. Her glow exploded outward. A storm of silver light exploded from Lyra, filling the trial chamber with blinding radiance. Evan covered his face, but even with his eyes shut, he could feel the heat, gentle to him, deadly to everything else. The Praetorians staggered back, their armor flickering as Lyra's energy expanded like a growing sun. The air vibrated. The ground shook. Symbols on the ark's pillars spun in circles, reacting to her power. When the light finally dimmed, Evan slowly opened his eyes, and he saw her. Lyra was standing, not weak, not trembling, not fading, but tall, glowing, transformed. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver. Her hair floated around her, glowing like a comet tail. Her eyes burned bright white, no pupils, no fear. Evan whispered, breathless, Lyra, you're different. She stepped forward, her feet leaving soft trails of light on the floor. This is the real me, she said softly. The me they want to keep locked inside the cocoon. The Praetorians froze. Their scanners went red. Warning. Energy level exceeds royal limits. Target ascending. Evan turned to Lyra. Ascending? What does that mean? Lyra didn't answer immediately. She looked at her glowing hands. Angry, sad, confused. Every heir of my empire carries an ancient power, but mine grew too fast. Too strong. She took a slow breath. My people call me unstable. Dangerous. A star that could burn the wrong world. Evan stepped closer, ignoring the heat radiating from her. You're not a danger. You saved me. Twice. Lyra looked into his eyes, deep silver meeting human brown. I saved you because you saved me first. But their moment broke when the arc shook violently again. The Royal Vanguard Starbreaker beam slammed into the arc for the fourth time, tearing through its outer layers. A massive section of the ceiling collapsed. Dust and ancient metal rained down. The arc's voice echoed. Critical damage. System failure in 120 seconds. Lyra turned toward the window. Outside, the Vanguard fleet rapidly charged for a final shot. The Starbreaker glowed brighter than a miniature sun. Lyra whispered, if they fire again, the arc will collapse. Evan's heart pounded. Then we need to escape. No, Lyra said quietly. If we flee, they will follow. If we hide, they will search. If I run, humanity dies. She stepped forward. Energy crackled around her like lightning dancing across water. Evan moved in front of her. Don't even think about sacrificing yourself. Lyra looked down, her voice soft. Evan, I carry a power meant for war, but you showed me compassion. My people fear that compassion. She touched his cheek lightly, her skin warm, almost burning. If I use my full energy, it will destroy their fleet. Evan grabbed her hand tightly. Then don't. We'll find another way. Lyra smiled sadly. There is no other way. But then, the ark's pillars suddenly lit up with a new pattern, soft golden light instead of harsh blue. A new voice echoed, not mechanical, not cold, something older, something almost alive. Star air, you seek balance. Lyra froze, eyes wide. Evan whispered, what is that? Lyra's voice trembled. The ark's core mind, the oldest intelligence of the Sentinels. The core mind continued. Power alone cannot save. Compassion alone cannot win. Lyra stared at the symbols. Then what must I do? The core mind answered. Merge your path with a human. Evan blinked. Merge? With me? Lyra stepped closer, her glow warming the air. The arc wants us to share energy, to stabilize me, to channel my power through you. Evan shook his head. I'm human, Lyra. I can't handle that. She looked at him softly. You already did when you held a cocoon. Memories flashed. The moment Evan touched the cocoon, the light reacting to his presence. Lyra waking up. She whispered, my energy listened to your courage. It followed your choice. The core mind spoke again. Only together can you shape the star. Lyra held out her hands to Evan. Her voice was a gentle plea. Evan, if you join with me, we can stop the fleet. But if you don't, we will both die. His chest tightened with fear. Not of death, but of losing her. He took a deep breath. Okay. Lyra's eyes widened. Okay, she whispered. Evan nodded. If we do this, we do it together, across the stars. Lyra smiled, a beautiful, heartbreaking smile. She placed her glowing hands in his. The chamber exploded with light. Evan felt energy pour into him. Not burning, not violent, but warm, powerful, ancient. His veins glowed faint blue, his heartbeat syncing with Lyra's. Lyra whispered, don't let go. I won't, Evan said. Their energies merged. Her silver light, his human spark, twisting like twin stars collapsing into one. The arc shook. The core mind spoke. Balance achieved. Unleash the star. The chamber windows shattered outward from the blast. The Royal Vanguard fleet charged their superweapon. But Lyra and Evan rose on the chamber floor, surrounded by a sphere of blazing white energy. Lyra whispered one final time, Evan, together. He squeezed her hands. Together, a beam of unimaginable power erupted from them. Not destruction, not death, light, pure, stabilizing, unstoppable light. It blasted through the arc, through the void, through the fleet. Ships were not destroyed. They were disarmed, their weapons melted, their engines disabled. The Starbreaker beam collapsed instantly. The fleet tumbled, powerless, drifting in silence. Evan gasped. Lyra collapsed into his arms, weak again but alive. But the arc wasn't. The core mind made its final announcement. My time is complete. You must leave now. Lyra leaned into Evan, breath trembling. We won, but the arc is dying. Evan lifted her in his arms. We're getting out. Now. As the arc crumbled around them, a path of glowing light opened. Their escape route. They ran together. The arc groaned like a dying giant as Evan carried Lyra through the glowing escape path. The floor beneath them shook, walls cracked open, and ancient symbols faded one by one. The entire structure, older than civilizations, older than history, was falling apart. Lyra clung weakly to Evan's shoulder, her silver glow dim and flickering like a fading star. Evan, leave me, she whispered. You won't make it with my weight. Evan tightened his grip. Then I'll carry you until the ship explodes. Lyra gave a soft, pained smile. You humans, you always choose the hardest path. Another explosion tore through the hallway. Evan jumped over a collapsing beam and kept running. The path of glowing light guided their steps, as if the dying arc was helping them escape one last time. The core mind's voice sounded weaker now, fading like a whisper in a storm. Exit near. Hurry. Evan reached the final chamber, a circular room with a cracked ceiling revealing the stars. Their ship Horizon 12 drifted outside the broken hull, still intact but shaking from debris impacts. Almost there, Evan whispered. But the moment they reached the edge, the path collapsed. A massive gap opened between them and the doorway that led to the ship. Dust flew into the air. Lyra's heart sank. It's too far, you cannot jump. Evan looked at the distance. She was right, not with her in his arms. Lyra pushed gently against his chest. Put me down. No. Evan, I won't make it. You must. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from sadness. He touched her cheek gently. Lyra, I didn't cross the stars to watch you die. Her eyes shimmered with silver tears. Before she could protest, the Ark's voice whispered again, its final strength gathering. Human, take her hand. They did. The floor beneath them glowed, and a small bridge of light formed beneath their feet. Lyra gasped softly. Is it helping us? Evan nodded. It chose us. Together, they walked across the fragile light bridge, sparks breaking under each step. The Ark gave everything it had left to keep that path alive. When they reached Horizon 12's doorway, the bridge collapsed completely behind them. Lyra rested her forehead on Evan's shoulder. Goodbye, old guardian. Horizon 12's door sealed. The ship AI activated emergency thrusters. Warning. Ark collapse in 20 seconds. Evan placed Lyra gently in the co-pilot seat. Stay awake, he said softly. Lyra looked at him with half-closed eyes. You're giving commands now. Only the important ones. Evan said. A weak laugh escaped her lips. He fired the engines. Horizon 12 shot forward, leaving the collapsing Ark behind. As they escaped into open space, a massive explosion lit the void like a newborn star. The Ark's final light. Lyra whispered, voice breaking. It protected us. Evan placed a hand over hers. No, it protected what it believed in. Lyra looked at him, her silver eyes soft. Us. White medium star aftermath. Outside the Ark's remains, the Royal Vanguard fleet floated helplessly, engines disabled. Their weapons were melted from the energy released during the merge. Lyra stared at them silently. They will see this as my crime, she said. Evan shook his head. Or as your message. As if on cue, the leader's ship flickered with lights. A communication channel opened. A tall alien figure appeared. Stern face, glowing markings, royal armor. Lyra inhaled sharply. Commander Varos. Evan whispered. Friend or enemy? Lyra answered softly. Once he was like a brother. Varos spoke, his voice heavy with conflict. Princess Lyra Solar, you survived. That itself changes everything. Lyra stepped forward weakly. I am not here to fight my people, she said. Varos looked at Evan. And the human? Why does he stand beside the heir? Lyra's voice grew firm, stronger than Evan had ever heard. Because he did what our empire never did. He listened. He cared. He saved me. Varos' expression shifted. Confusion mixed with respect. You merge with him, he said quietly. Evan blinked. How do you know? Varos answered. Your energy signature has changed. It carries 2 hearts now. Lyra looked down, her face warming. Varos, she continued, and the cleansing order. Humans are not our enemy. Silence. A long, tense silence. Then Varos slowly placed his hand over his chest. The royal sign of agreement. I will report your survival to the High Council. They will listen to the heir. Lyra's breath trembled. Thank you, old friend. Varos nodded. You have changed, my princess. Perhaps that is good. His ship powered down its last weapon. The rest of the fleet followed. One by one, all lights dimmed. Peace. For the first time in her life, Lyra's people were not hunting her. White medium star, the future across the stars. Hours later, Horizon 12 drifted into calm space. The danger was gone. The galaxy was quiet. Lyra sat beside Evan, wrapped in a soft emergency blanket. Her glow had softened to gentle silver. Evan looked at her and smiled faintly. You okay? Lyra nodded. I am something new. She placed her hand over his. I was born to be a weapon, but with you, I became something else. Evan squeezed her hand. And what's that? Lyra leaned her head on his shoulder. A person who wants to choose her own path. He smiled. And where does that path start? Lyra looked out the window. The stars stretching forever. With you, across the stars together. Evan's heartbeat slowed, peaceful. For the first time, he whispered, I'm not alone out here. Lyra lifted her hand, drawing a tiny glowing line in the air, a symbol of unity, of 2 different worlds meeting. The line formed a small star. Lyra whispered, Across the stars, our story begins. Horizon 12's engines hummed softly. Together, 2 unlikely allies, 2 worlds intertwined, 2 hearts carrying the power of galaxy. They flew toward a new star system, toward a future neither Empire nor Ark could ever predict. A human and a star-born heir, side by side,